Hey everyone, welcome to another walkthrough video of Excel Wonders. We're going to talk about a tool called Employee Motivation Assessment Tool. This is super useful for any leader who has employees and you want to measure the levels of satisfaction and motivation of your employees against a specific set of factors. So when you open the file, you should see this page, which is actually the employee report that you can generate after you've done some assessments. But let me show you this page at the very end of the video. Let's start with employees. In employees, you can manage the list of employees that you afterwards can select when you do motivation and satisfaction quizzes. So you can edit the information of existing employees, you can add new employees, you can move them around, you can sort, and you can delete. This table has 5 columns, and the first 2 will always be displayed no matter what, but the last 3, role, team, and job level, are completely option for you to choose to show them or not. If you don't want to see them, you can go in settings, you scroll down, and then here you have some check marks that you can untick. If you go back to employees, those columns are gone. Let me go back to settings, let me select them again, and show you a couple of other things here in this page. You can also change the labels, the headers of those columns, and you can set these fields as required or not. What it means is that when you're adding a new employee or editing existing information, the information of an existing employee, if you have set these fields as required, you cannot save the information without putting a value for those fields. If you scroll down, then you have also list of teams and list of job levels. And these are the fields, or these are the options that you will see available anytime that you're creating a new employee and you have to select the team or job level. Let me show you. If you go to employees and you try to create a new employee, in team you have this drop down, and in job level you have another drop down, and these options on the drop down correspond exactly to the fields that you have listed here in these lists. And finally, I want to show you the first setting, which is actually the factors that you want to consider for the motivation and satisfaction quizzes. It's a maximum of 16, but you may not want to have all of them. That's totally up to you. I actually recommend that you do this in advance before creating any assessment, that you select the factors that matter to you. For the purpose of this walkthrough, let me just select the first 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me deselect all of these. Okay, so imagine I just care about the first 6. Now, if I want to try to create a motivation quiz, first and foremost, I need to select an employee. I'm going to select the first one. I'm going to click next question. And then what I see here is a series of questions in which I am asked for each one of them to select one factor or another. In this specific case, I'm asked about compensation or relationship with my boss. I can select compensation or relationship with my boss. It can be one or the other. You can always select one. So I'm going to make some selections here completely random. Next question. I'm going to make these selections as well. Next question. I'm just making some random selections. So every step has a series of questions. And for now, I'm just making them randomly. And now, as I try to go to the next step, it actually tells me that I reached the end of the assessment. And I can either discard or save them in submissions. I actually want to save them in submissions. I'm going to click yes, and now I see this congratulatory message. If I go now in submissions, here it is, the submission of the motivation quiz that I just completed. Each column corresponds to a question that I had to answer, and then these cells are the answers I selected. And how do I know I'm in motivation quiz submissions? It's because here on the top you have 2 tabs, one for motivation quiz submissions and one for satisfaction quiz. In this table, you can sort and you can delete submissions as well. Now let's look at satisfaction quiz. Same thing. First, you start by selecting the actual employee. I selected this first one. Then what you need to do here is to select a score from 1 to 10 that measures the level of satisfaction of that employee according to each factor. So I'm going to make some random selections. And I'm going to confirm. And again, I get asked the same question. Do I want to save it or not? I'm going to click yes. And now if I go back to submissions and I click here on satisfaction quiz submissions, now I see the submission that I just made along with the answers that I have also selected. And finally, what I want to show you is employee report. Employee report is essentially a consolidation of the motivation and satisfaction quizzes for a specific employee. So first I select the employee. Let's select the first one. this Annalise England. You can also reset to just completely reset everything from scratch. And I'm going to make the selection again. I select the motivation quiz. So I'm going to select the one that I just did right now. And here it is. I see displayed in the matrix all the factors and then where do they stand according to their levels of satisfaction, motivation. Now, because of some limitations of Excel and because it's a scatter chart, you see some of them on top of each other. This is why if you scroll down, you will see a table that shows exactly the same information as the chart, the matrix chart, but now with numbers. So it shows you all the factors. It ranks the factors actually by level of motivation, and then the level of satisfaction here next to it as well. And then it also gives you recommended action, which is essentially says what you should do in response to the motivation score and satisfaction score for this specific factor. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this Excel file.